That's it. It stopped spinning. That means we're live, theoretically. Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Bunker. This is the Bunker Nation Show, and I'm glad you're going to be here, or glad you are here. If you are here, if you're not here, if you're a future person, that's great too. But I think you're going to be sad that you didn't see this live. I think you're going to cry. Anyways, I'm going to be your host for the evening. Everybody pile in. Come on in here and have a seat and come into the comment section, write your name. Just tell me where you are. I don't even need to know your name. Just tell me where you are. That's all we need to do. And let me know if the thing's working. Let me know if the sound is working, if the volume is good, if the video is working. I don't see anybody yet. This could be a very, very short show. We'll find out. I am so full. There's some people popped in. I'm so full. I put a picture on Facebook. Hello, Robert. Hello, Heva. I am full because I had a stack of French toast that high, 5 pieces of French toast, interspersed with peanut butter frosting, covered with syrup. And I ate like 2/3 of it because it was just so filling, which is the purpose. It's anabolic French protein French toast. And then I went back up there and ate the rest of it. So I ate all of it. And I am so full of anabolic sweet goodness that it's making me feel a little nappy. Your meme posting, empty-headed, uninteresting, full of wrong opinions neighbor is on board. All right, the meme master. Daniel is in the house. Hey, everybody, follow instructions and get in the comment section right where you are. Or just say hi, it doesn't matter. This is going to be one of those shows that people are going to be sad they missed. I'm a little bit, what's the right word? Not despondent. I'm a little dejected. I don't know. It's just that, last time I made a pretty, hello, Aaron, intense plea for people after the show to go to YouTube and leave a comment. Nobody did. I think maybe one or two people did. That's really how YouTube decides whether or not a video is popular or not. It's not just the likes. And by the way, leave a like. But they also, even if you just went down in the comments and said, hey, whatever. The fact that people leave comments affects the algorithm, and that's how they decide what videos they're going to share with people. People are going to be upset they missed this one. But that also means that a lot of people are going to watch this and they're going to say that. They're going to go, wow, that was a really, really good one. That's probably one of the best ones ever. And then they'll just go have ice cream. They won't share. They won't tell other people about it. They won't put it on their wall. They won't go to YouTube and leave a like. And so I'm a little despondent. I'm just a little despondent. What I want you to do during the next 30 minutes, however long we're together, is have your little finger, your little pointer, hovering over, if you're on YouTube, the little $sign there, the super chat. And at what point you feel like you've gotten your value out of this video, which you're going to get, I want you to click on that. You can leave $1, $2, $5, $20, $50, $100, whatever you want to do. You can leave, a house in the Hamptons. Hello, Mary. Mary, I did see your comment. I think 1 or 2 people left comments. But out of all the people that watched it, it's an interesting phenomenon. People leave comments, but they leave them here while it's live, and then they think that that's going to be on the video, and it's not. So if you go to some of the videos, there's only like 5 or 6 comments total. All right, I'm going to stop complaining about that. We're going to get into whatever we want to talk about. If you guys have anything you want to talk about, if you have questions or comments, you can always put them in the comment section wherever you are. Maybe we'll talk about it, maybe not. But the question is, and the question that has been sent to me by a lot of people to comment on, is this secret police roundup, federal police arresting people in Portland and Seattle or wherever. And people want me to talk about that, but I generally just refuse to be forced into commenting on things that start in the midair. I would not take to living in the Hamptons. You're right, Amy. A lot of people ask questions, or they want opinions, or they have opinions that are based on nothing. They're absolutely based on vapor. They start the question about what their opinion is in midair. There's no foundation. I used to have people ask me all the time, what do you think about prayer in school, the 10 Commandments in courthouses? What do you think about all that stuff? What do you think about, security guards with guns in schools? Well, they're asking me to start with an opinion that validates everything that came before it. If you ask me about prayer in schools or the Pledge of Allegiance in schools, I have to already agree with the fact that those schools should exist in order to answer the question. It's called a presupposition. And I don't agree that they should exist. I think they should not exist. I think they're harmful. I think they're detrimental at every level, even your so-called, but it's for socializing. On every level, they're detrimental. So I'm just not going to answer the question if you ask me there should be prayer in schools. I don't think there should be schools. Public schools. You ask me if there should be 10 Commandments in courthouses and all this kind of stuff. I don't think you're supposed to make images of things like that. Somebody asked me the other day, what do you think about this movie that's coming out? The Chosen. They sent me a picture, a meme or something like that, and it said, this is going to change the way people see Jesus. Oh, really? An unauthorized violation of the second commandment that's going to picture the deity is going to change the way people see the deity. That's really, really interesting. I would have never expected that to happen. Hashtag sarcasm. My whole point is, and I don't want to talk about any of that stuff. My whole point is that people start their opinions in midair. They agree with all the presuppositions, even if those presuppositions are faulty. And so people have been asking me, what do you think about Trump's secret police out there? Or, minivans pulling up and snatching people off the streets and all this kind of stuff. There's like 50 levels of things that had to have happened that I don't agree with before we ever got to minivans and secret police pulling people off the street. And I can argue both sides of that, and I may do it. That's because I have the ability to understand two positions that are at war and to analyze both of them and to be able to fairly illustrate both arguments. The main question is, what are your politics what is the lens you're looking at it through? If you are already predisposed to not like Trump and not like the federal government and like everything that's on the far left, why, these are shock troops. And you're going to go out there and you're going to start sending out Facebook posts going, this is unacceptable. I mean, you don't care if the same shock troops kick in somebody's door because they HOA told them they couldn't grow roses, or they couldn't have a bird in their front yard, and they decided they weren't going to give in and they were going to stand tough, and they got cited, and all of a sudden the troops come in and kick in the door and drag those people off, and now they're wearing ankle tracking bracelets, or they get shot, or their cat gets stomped to death. You're fine with that. The left is always fine with jackbooted thugs until they're jumping out of vans in Portland and pulling people into them. And the same thing on the right. They have a problem with all that. They love freedom. They love to wave flags and get out there and talk, hello, Ohio, and talk about freedom and talk about the fact that you ain't going to step on this snake. And then they see guys in unmarked uniforms and unmarked cars pulling people into cars, and they're like, hell yeah, this is terrorist hunting. I can argue both sides, and I can do it effectively. The point is that these things are absolutely predictable events in any society in which urbanization and industrialization has progressed to a certain point. When you have industrialization and urbanization, you have a lot of people living in the same place. You have a rising of the mass, meaning the mass man, his condition rises based on the compound effect of civilization, which means the poor are even richer than the rich used to be. You have more and more people living on top of each other with more and more needs that are artificially being created for them day after day. And as this happens, the system continues to go. And for some time, it can go just fine. But at some point, you will always have this type of uprising, which I'm going to explain today. After I find, if I can find, oh, where is it? It's so necessary to this discussion that I feel bad if I don't have it. And that is this back scratcher that used to be a fly swatter. All right, that was necessary to this conversation. Hello, Indiana. So what you end up with is you end up with the rising of the mass. And we've seen this going on over the last several centuries and rapidly increasing in the last decades. This rising of the mass means that because of the compounding effects of civilization, time and space are affected. Time and space. The world itself becomes larger. Now, you've heard it argued most of your life. Oh, with computers and TV and internet and all this, the world has gotten smaller. It has not gotten smaller. The world has gotten larger. If it had gotten smaller, the things out there would be really here. I could walk out my door and I could go down the Champs-Elysees. It's gotten larger. The stuff out there doesn't appear here. I can go there. I can be everywhere. I can look out my window right now and see a squirrel in the tree and move my eyes 2 inches and watch the burning of Notre Dame Cathedral. Literally bring Paris, France, and thousands of years of civilization into Central Texas, the wilderness of Central Texas. This compounding of civilization through time, what it means is that we have the ability to be everywhere. We have the ability to see everything. The peasant in Russia in the 1500s, the 1600s, the early 1700s, his life was very compact. Time itself was enormous. Time and space, those concepts were foreign in many cases. I mean, there was some concept of them, but they were very foreign. Civilization, especially when we have industrialization, we have the ability to take in and to grab more things, causes the speeding up of time. Speed doesn't even have a definition. It doesn't have a meaning if we aren't mortal. If you're mortal, moving fast, being able to see more, be more places at once, being able to talk to your children when they're at college at the same time that you're ordering a car, you're ordering ice cream blender or something like that out of Indiana or China that can be there in 2 days. This concept that you become international, that you become everything, life expands. It conglomerates with other life. begins to move faster and faster and faster. People aren't even able to slow it down. Gasset called this a spatiotemporal increase of the world. That's an interesting thing. And there's a result to that as the masked man is elevated. The masked man for thousands of years, many of them were happy, but they weren't elevated. In other words, they weren't lifted up beyond their capacity. The masked man woke up in the morning and there were things like food and chores and life and happiness and family. And you walked out your door, you could see the whole world from your front porch. That's as far as you would ever go. The whole world was right there. And so time and space didn't have a whole lot of meaning. And when you elevate the masked man, which is you take someone whose capacity for abstract thought and capacity for ideation is limited, but you give them power and you give them speed and you give them time and you give them the ability to see everything and know everything. The two elements that caused the fall of Adam and Eve and every sickness and illness and darkness and murder in the history of the world are on steroids. And that is greed, covetousness. They get multiplied. The masked man sees everything, so he wants everything. Doesn't understand why it's not his. Think about this. If you had $1 billion right now, $1 billion, you could buy whatever you want within reason. But everything that you have would merely be an amplification of what you already have. You're not going to have more air conditioning. You might have more efficient air conditioning in a larger space, but you all have air conditioning. I don't. You're not going to eat 15 meals a day because you have $1 billion. You might just eat a little bit better food. You're still going to have entertainment. You might have a nicer car. You might have more options of clothes you're going to wear, but you're still going to wear clothes. And the masked man sees this, and he says, I'm everything that man is. Why don't I have what he has? You see? He's no longer satisfied with his position and his condition. Whether or not those things are based on his capacity is immaterial. He sees it and he wants it, and he can't have it. The system itself is put on trial. As Christians, we were supposed to always think immortally. Remember what I just said. The only reason you think about speed, that you think that you have to do more things, the reason a motor car only has meaning because you're mortal. You can only do a certain amount of things before you die. You got to get there and you got to get that stuff and you got to get back. Our civilization, whether you agree with it or not, was based on the Christian understanding of immortality. And that is that everybody's not going to have everything right now. It's harder for the rich man to get into heaven. Can't buy his way there. So men and women had longer thoughts, but their spatial understanding was smaller, and they were happy with it. Greed and covetousness were necessarily handcuffed and restricted by geology, by topography, by every element of civilization. But today, you can sit here all day long and watch billionaires and what they do and what they buy and the things that they buy and the things that they get and the things they can do that you can't do. If you have some kind of semblance of a historical Western civilization raising, you go, well, good on them. I'm glad they did that. Perhaps they're employing a bunch of people. Those people are buying things. And then I'm able to also participate in the system. And I'm being elevated. The mass man's being elevated because of that economic activity. That's only if you have a little remnant left in you, if you haven't been in the public schools in the last 15 years. But if you were, you don't look at it that way. There's no reason why all that stuff isn't yours. There's no reason why you don't have everything everybody else has. So you have these two people. If you got a billionaire today, just think about this. A billionaire today, I'm Elon Musk or whoever. And let's take a billionaire from the 17th century. I don't know that they had $1 billion, but they had a castle and they had anything they wanted, right? Who had the most stuff? In other words, who was richer in the modern sense? Why, the modern man is. The modern man has 18 different cereals of one brand that he can buy. The modern man has 17 different versions of the same shirt that he can pick from. The modern man can be anywhere he wants to be. The modern billionaire can be anywhere he wants to be in a couple of hours. He can see anything in the world immediately as it's happening. He can watch whatever he wants to watch. He can do whatever he wants to do. He has far, far more ability to experience in a speed way anything that he wants to experience. This is also true of the mass man. The mass man, in his degree, he can watch Notre Dame burn and watch whatever's going on outside of his window too. He also can go to the grocery store and he can pick 14 flavors of Malta meal, or he can pick 12 different flavors of frosting. He can buy 17 different brands of shirts, even the poor ones. Covetousness and greed then are amplified and multiplied. So this man, this mass man, he wants all that stuff. He inevitably is going to take it by whatever means necessary. Cities, urbanization and industrialization just makes this inevitable. It's just a matter of time. Education was the means. I don't want to say it in a detrimental way when I say pacifying the masses, but in its real literal sense, giving people peace with the understanding that they were living a life far more advanced than their capacity. Most people do not have the intellectual capacity to live at the level at which they live. They live at that level because they've been lifted up by thousands of years of civilization that have provided these things for them. Their educational level is shameful compared to even the foundation time period of America. An 8th grade education, the foundation time of America, was far more advanced than an advanced college degree today. But you live at a level so far above your capacity, you're incapable of even understanding it. So in a Christian concept, in a Christian understanding, gratefulness would be the response for that. Gratefulness. I'll get to your point here in just a minute, Aaron. In other words, being grateful that civilization exists and that we're capable of, going down to a grocery store and buying such a plethora of a multitude of different products, even poor people, in such a way. Now, whenever you hear the stories of poverty and the sad stories about poverty, it's always the things that are being imposed upon us by that system. In other words, those things wouldn't exist in a proper system. Inevitably, then, that generation that has been raised with the idea that everything ought to be theirs, that they ought to be able to not just live above their capacity, but on an equal footing with the highest level of the society, whatever that is financially and economically, by force. That ideas are no longer to be based in any sound foundation or epistemology about of truth, but ideas are merely cudgels that you use to beat people with, and you use arguments that are concocted for you so that you can continue to do it, degrading the system until everybody's at each other's throats, and then you can just go out and take that. Why is it that we are told by a congressman that people are rioting because they're hungry for bread, but then the first thing they do is go kick in a Nike store? It's not a political left or right thing. I'm saying this is the status of the American mass man, the Westerner. They've abandoned civilization because of covetousness and greed, and they believe that everything ought to be theirs, even if it's above their station. You're not supposed to talk about this stuff like that. People's capacity ought to limit them. And then once you've given up that bedrock of understanding that everybody ought to be able to just have everything, there's not enough, and the civilization breaks. The engine of that productivity dies. And you have riots in the streets. When you have riots in the streets and you have people that are acting just on the edge, I mean, they're fully in illegality, but what they're doing, they're working on the edge of what a system is going to allow them to act. In other words, they're playing the rules. Oh, you're saying that we can't carry weapons, so we're going to carry bike locks and we're going to carry flag staffs that we can pull the flag off and we can use them to beat people with. That element continues to push how they can do mayhem, how they can destroy, how they can beat people, and how they can kill, and how they can rob. And you have another element over here, equally lawless, who now says this behavior is terroristic, and it is. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have our own thugs that are going to go get those thugs, and we're going to throw them into cars, and we're going to straighten this crap out right now. And since the bedrock has been taken out, everybody's been taking an axe to the root or taking a chisel and a hammer to the foundation of all of it, and nobody ever stops and goes, why are we even in a situation where this could happen? Time and space, which in the real sense are the stupid parts of the elements of the universe. I don't mean stupid as in dumb. I mean they're stupid as in they're reactive. They act and they react, but they don't do so intelligently. Light, that's a whole other kettle of fish. That's a whole other bucket of worms. But time and space have been so activated that covetousness is without any bounds. There's no bounds to it. It used to be that the The end of my covetousness was the end of my ability to walk. How far can you walk? My sin was going to be limited by my capacity. If I can't move in a carriage at 30 miles an hour, I only can walk. There's a limited amount of stuff I could see and I could want. Forbes about to get deleted and blocked. You understand? You can only want something that you've experienced at some level. And so if all you could ever see was as far as you could walk, then that was the limitation of your covetousness. It's still sin, but it was bounded. And now it's unbounded. The people with the least amount of character, the least amount of any type of understanding of historical basis for truth, who have had the shackles taken off of that covetousness and greed, on both sides, by the way, like I've said, criminals on both sides are now at war. And as I said in the title of this thing, it is inevitable. It is inevitable that they will destroy everything in the long run. That's inevitable. The only thing that could possibly stop it is a return to some kind of understanding of historical normalcy, some historical understanding of how civilization even exists, how it came to be, human capacity. That's the only way it could ever happen. Now, I told you you're going to get a special treat today, and that treat is you have just had the underpinning of all the stuff that you're seeing laid out for you. You can see it. We pulled away the curtains. The people in the vans that are yanking people in them to drive them off somewhere, those people are lawless. They're doing what they're told, but they're lawless. And the people being pulled into the vans, they're equally lawless. Neither one of them has any clue what it took to build this civilization or what or a concept of what freedom entails and the responsibilities that go with it. And that's where we are. If you guys have any questions or comments, go ahead and throw them on the comments section. I'll be here waiting for you. Pretending like I'm just looking at my computer. So let me know what's going on out there. If you guys have any questions or comments, we can do that. They got through that pretty quickly. Here's the thing. If at any moment you got any value from that, you could hit a like button. You could subscribe. You could send this video to somebody else, or you could go to YouTube after it's over and leave a comment. I didn't mean to depress you, Mary. I just thought that somebody needs to get some kind of jolt of reality as the star-bellied sneeches and the plain-bellied sneeches argue about whether or not people should get pulled into vans. Where the hell? Hava. I accidentally blocked the wrong person. There's one thing I don't like about this whole system here. Is that it doesn't let you handle your idiots in the comment section as well as you should be able to. I should have had Forbes blocked already. Let me see what I can find here. you all have questions or comments, go ahead and put them in the comment section. I don't know how to work this thing. Janice, I didn't see your question. What was the question? Do you read a lot of books? Yes, I read a whole lot of books. This is like almost none of my books. I have over 3,000 books in this room, in the room next to me. You're seeing about maybe 45 of them. I'm trying to manage things right now, and I'm having some problems doing it. Yeah, that's what happens. All right. It's irritating. It is irritating. And I think I'm probably just going to stop broadcasting in a few of these formats just because it doesn't allow you to control the comments like you should be able to. Stupid. All right, I'm here. If you guys have questions or comments, just let them go. All right, I'm just removing the Twitter feed because I can't get rid of this idiot. Anybody else have any questions or comments or anything you want to talk about? Yeah, Forbes going to get kicked out of the airlock. I've told him not to do this crap before, but he just does it, and nothing you can do but beat him the next time you see him. But I will make it where he's going to realize that it's not a good idea. Anybody else have any questions or comments? I'm here for you. Hey, by the way, my book is out. God in the Storm. Hello, Tom. God in the Storm. Go down in the description of this on YouTube. You can find a link to God in the Storm. It's been doing pretty well. It's now available on Amazon.com. I have no idea why they don't just let you delete comments. I ended up just shutting off the Twitter feed because Twitter is where most of the idiots come from. That's a dumpster fire over there. So, okay, I don't see any questions coming in. Maybe nobody wants to talk. I hope you guys got something out of it. I got frustrated. I'm a little bit dejected anyway, as I said at the beginning. This whole YouTube thing takes a lot of time, takes a whole lot of energy, a lot of power, and a lot of other stuff that I have to do and planning. And then I just go, hey guys, there's about 25 of you. If you guys wouldn't mind, in 10 minutes, will you go over to the YouTube and leave a comment? And I think I got 4 comments. It's just frustrating. I'm not complaining. I understand it's not about me, but it sure would be nice if some people would help. If I go back and I look at the last 4 videos, the video that I did, which was a full-on screaming rant for 45 minutes, got 200 views, and then they get less and less. The more intellectually should be stimulating and understanding they are, the fewer people watch it or want to participate. Do I have a Bible study group anywhere? I go to a church right now. I have a Facebook ministry group, and I'm not currently involved in a Bible study. I am in transition. Hopefully, we'll be getting back into that soon. Hello, Dana, and I'm sorry if anybody else made any comments that I missed. It's not too bad heat-wise here, Mary. It's 94 today, which is freaking. I mean, right now, which is freaking awesome. It's going to be in the low 90s all week. This morning, I got up at 2:50 and got up for the day. 250, and it was 80 degrees. That's miserable when it's 80 degrees at 250 in the morning when you don't have air conditioning. However, over the next 10 days, it's going to be low 70s in the morning, which is going to be fantastic. Did you get all the pig canned? We did not get it all canned, but we did get enough of it managed. Danielle did a wonderful job. She got probably 70 or 80 jars done. And we still have, in the freezer at church, we have 28 pounds of sausage and probably another 10, 15 pounds of other assorted pork and bacon. And then we have another freezer with a friend that's got a lot of meat in it. And we got another pig going in on August 3rd. So, yeah, it's not done, but we're in a good place. And Danielle did a wonderful job. She worked hard all weekend to get so much of it done. The masked man must live in an atmosphere that allows them to deny they're terrible people with you spouting all this truth. Yeah, the masked man does not like to be told anything other than you're good and you deserve everything for free. That's not altogether true. There's a lot of people that would be considered the masked man historically. We're just hardworking people. They're still elevated beyond their capacity because of the benefits of the work of their fathers and their forefathers and going all the way back. But the masked man is not just limited to idiots burning down streets. Masked man is pretty much the mass, which is almost everybody. Some of them are fine people who work very hard, who are part of the productive engine of society, and who love and care and do all sorts of things. They just need to understand that gratefulness is what is required when you live above your own individual capacity. People tell me all the time, oh, I couldn't do what you do. I couldn't raise my own food. I couldn't survive. I couldn't do all these things. And I say, okay, that's fine. It doesn't make you stupid. It doesn't make you bad. It doesn't make you anything else. It just should make you grateful. Should be grateful that you live in a society in which these things can be provided for you. Lacking gratefulness, those evil twin heads of the wicked that caused the fall of man, enter in freely. Dana says, I'm canning like crazy too as our freezer is full and we have another hog coming. Yeah. I tell you what, Danielle was going at it and no air conditioning, standing at that stove all weekend. What's happening in Texas other than the heat? Oh, depends on where you are. Out here, a whole lot of not much, man. Chickens laying eggs, and everybody's in my little 40-acre woods is doing what they're supposed to be doing. Thank you, Janice, for pushing the like button. That's very appreciated. The smaller the town you are in, the more it's like nothing ever happened. The bigger the city you're in, the more it's like a post-apocalyptic or a dystopian world. The bigger the city, the worse it is. And that's just the way it is, and it's going to get worse. I try to come on at the same time every day, but this is my first time back at 7 o'clock in a while because it was so hot. I don't have air conditioning. I live off grid. And so it was so hot we were doing it at 9 p.m. And it's not every day, but I try to do 5 times a week. And you'll if you sign up, if you're on YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell icon, you'll get a notification before I come on that tells you I'm going to be on when I'm going to do this live. Please share it. My books are all available. There are links in the description on YouTube to all sorts of goodies. If you want to help out, go to michaelbunker.com, click on the partner link, and there's all different ways that you can come alongside and partner and subscribe and do all kinds of good things. But do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you have questions or comments, I'm here for a little bit longer, so go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to turn all this power off. I'm going to walk back up to the top, and I'm probably going to go to bed since I've been up since 2:50 and it's past my bedtime. The things I do for you. If your town is small, then you're doing pretty well. The towns that are near us are all pretty small. Hello, Katrina. Well, I'm glad you came. And all you future people who are watching this in the future when it's not live, welcome. Thank you, Dana, for the super chat. I was hoping that was going to happen at some point. Helps make this all worthwhile and helps pay the bills. Anyways, like I said, I appreciate you guys. If you're in the future, it's up to you. Hit the like button. What happens is there's this strange brew, this algorithm that YouTube puts together, and they're like, are people liking it? Are people sharing it? Are people commenting on it down below? And if they're doing those things, and commenting on it during the show doesn't count. But if they do those things, then YouTube goes, more people need to see this, and then they have more people see it. That's the way it works. That's how you can help. All right. Yes, Swarms of Locusts is a great book. If somebody can afford it and they can find a copy, they ought to read it. Been trying to send it for 15 minutes. All right. Well, you got it. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, y'all. I'm not seeing any questions, and it's been a good time. I hope you've learned something. If you have topics and things you want to talk about, go to YouTube in 10 or 15 minutes and go down in the comments section and say, hey, why don't you do a show about why this idiot got on there and starts talking about let's blame everything on the Jews. Everybody's to blame, buddy. Everybody who is flesh is to blame, and there are evil ones, some more evil than others. But you say everything is somebody's fault, you're an idiot. Mankind fell in Adam, buddy. All of them. Unless you're born again, you're still in Adam. All right, y'all. That's my preaching for tonight. I appreciate you guys tuning in. It's always fun. As always, I love you. Lord willing, I'll see you tomorrow night, if not the night after. Hopefully at the same time, since it's cool. Hey, I'm going to have a guest coming on. I'm not going to tell you who it is yet, but I got one planned.